Adisebaba. In a forest lived a rather rickety mouse. He was so afraid of the fox, the wolf, and even himself for that matter, that if the wind blew and a branch cracked, he looked around for a hole he could hide in. Because of this, all the little animals made fun of him. How scared is he?
You're even scared of the wind.
You're so scared.
You're so scared. You're so scared.
One day, the mouse got his act together and went over to see the king of the jungle, the lion. The lion had just finished having his lunch. He was taking a nap in front of the cave. The mouse's friends were all curious as to what the mouse had planned. The mouse started to climb up the lion's tail. He got up on the lion's back. With a very confident look on his face, he posed to his friends. Although he was very scared, he was doing everything in his hand not to make it obvious. Right at that moment, the lion woke up. And as he shook his fur, the mouse fell off. The mouse and the lion came eye to eye. All the other animals were worried.
Oh no, the lion will swallow the mouse. What nerve, what courage. What are you doing on my back?
King of the jungle, please don't eat me. I'm the most scared and the most vulnerable of them all. My life passes on by shaking with fear. If a leaf falls off of the tree, I'm scared. I'm fed up with this. I want to get rid of this fear. You're the king of the jungle. With just one big roar, the animals fear you. Would you consider taking me into your custody?
The lion listened to the mouse in silence. The mouse was wondering what his reply was going to be.
And why should I help you? Give me one good reason as to why I shouldn't eat you.
Your help will be returned, I promise. Maybe one day I will help you.
As soon as the mouse finished what he had to say, the lion roared in such a way.
How can such a tiny mouse as yourself be of any help to me?
But seeing the tiny mouse shaking in front of him, the lion decided not to eat him.
Thank God I am full. Now get out of my sight.
The mouse ran and got away from there. Watching all that was happening from afar, the friends of the mouse were really surprised. Some time had passed by, the lion got hungry and started wandering around in the forest. But he could not notice the hunter's trap and got caught. He was hung in the air in a big net. He tried to break free from the net, but he could not do it. He was the king of the forest, so if he could yell for help, he would be humiliated, and all the hunters would hear him and come to get him faster. Being out of options, he began to wait. Meanwhile, the other animals living in the forest noticed the lion. But nobody could dare get close to him. When he was passing by, Little Mouse saw the lion, and he decided to help him. He went directly next to him. He started to climb the lion's long tail, and when he reached the net, he began to chew on it. At that moment, the bunny came running next to them.
Hey, buddy, hurry up. The hunters are coming.
The other animals who were gathered around suddenly started to run around when they heard the word hunter. But the mouse kept on chewing with persistence. In the end, the net was torn apart and the lion fell down and got away.
Come on, jump on my back. Let's get out of here.
The mouse jumped on the lion's back and they got away from there. All breathless, the lion arrived in front of his cave. He kneeled down and the mouse jumped off.
When you told me that one day you might be able to help me, I underestimated you. I thought you were a tiny mouse with no use at all. But you saved my life. Thank you.
It's my pleasure, my king.
You don't have to be afraid of me anymore. In fact, you do not need to fear anything because you're a very courageous mouse. If I am the king of the jungle, from now on, you are my courageous prince.
Lion and the mouse began to laugh. All the animals watching all that was happening from afar came out and applauded the courageous mouse. The lion and the mouse became best friends and the forest lived in peace forever. Once upon a time, while the summer was still blooming, the animals living in the forest, the birds and the insects, were making the most of the summer. And of course, they had no trouble finding food. It was an ordinary day for the lazy grasshopper. He was eating the roots of the herbs he had picked, whilst playing the violin and singing under a tree.
Oh, what a lovely day. La la la, I'll play and sing along with my violin. And I don't know the rest of the words to the song, but it's okay.
When he finished his ear-bleeding song, he heard a noise and listened carefully. In order to understand where and who the noise was coming from, he quickly jumped up high onto the branches of the tree. And right there, he saw from a distance an ant trail. They were marching like soldiers. With great difficulty, the ants were carrying seeds and dry fruits that had fallen off from the trees. The grasshopper jumped to the ground, and as confused as he was, he watched the trail of ants disappear.
I never seem to get these ants. They're always working.
Right at that moment, he noticed an ant coming his way. The ant was trying to carry a seed much bigger than himself. Just as he was passing the grasshopper, the ant dropped the seed he was carrying. In fact, he needed to rest. The grasshopper stared at him with meaningless eyes.
Are you moving somewhere?
No.
Don't tell me there is a big disaster approaching. Is that why you're running away?
No.
Well then, may I ask what you're doing?
We are carrying food to our nests.
Rightio, you must be expecting a lot of visitors tonight then.
We are storing food for winter.
You're storing food for the winter? What for? And besides, why the rush? There's still a long time for winter. Have fun. Just make the most out of the summer.
Is that so? So what do you suggest we do for winter?
I'm sure we'll find something fun to do, don't worry.
All you ever think about is fun. What will we eat, I'm asking you?
I'll think about that when winter starts. Now it's summer and there's plenty to eat everywhere.
The ant had enough listening to the lazy grasshopper's nonsense and tried to put the seed on his back once again.
I must keep up with my friends. Will you help me to put the seed on my back? A singer and an artist like me shouldn't carry such heavy things.
After hearing such an answer from the grasshopper, the ant gave the grasshopper a rather interesting look and continued to try and put the seed on his back.
I suppose I could give you a little help.
The grasshopper picked up the rather small seed off the ground and placed it on the ant's back. The ant thanked him and continued on his way.
What a useless and empty effort.
The grasshopper continued to lay under the tree. After having something small to eat, he continued to play his violin.
Oh, what a lovely day! La la la! I'll play and sing along with my violin, and so I couldn't make up the rest. La 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 la.
Right at that moment, a squirrel took his head out of the tree.
La 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 la.
Enough! Please, it's enough! Go and sing your song somewhere else! I'm trying to rest here!
The instant the grasshopper stopped his singing, he took a glance at the squirrel, grabbed his violin, and he took off.
They don't know how to appreciate an artist in this forest.
As the hot summer days continued, the ants continued on carrying food to their nests, while the grasshopper continued to eat, walk around, have fun playing his violin, and sing. Finally, the cold winter had arrived. One morning, when the ants woke up, they had a look outside from their nests and saw that everything was covered in white snow. All the little ant could think of was the other animals living in the cold, freezing and hungry. On the other hand, due to all the plants being covered with snow, the grasshopper hadn't eaten a single thing for days. He was shivering, had lost all his strength, and wasn't able to play the violin or sing. With great strength, he was trying to walk on the snow. Suddenly, he thought about the hot summer days.
How nice were those days. Everywhere was covered in food. I had a full stomach. I was always happy.
At that moment, he thought about the ant. He carried food to his nest all summer long. Later he realized he didn't like this idea. He had made fun out of him during the summer. Would he help him now, he wondered? And now it was way too cold for the grasshopper to walk.
It's no time to be proud. I have to find the ant's nest and ask for help.
He headed straight to the ant's nest. He stood in front of the door and yelled.
Is anybody there? Please help.
Who is it?
From the nest he heard a noise. The grasshopper, with his last strength, answered.
My dear friend, Ant, it's me, Grasshopper. Please take me in.
By this time, hearing all that was being said, the queen ant approached the little ant. What's going on? Who wants help?
Just a lazy grasshopper that sits around, sings all day, my queen. I think he is hungry and seeks help.
Anyone who ends up at our doorstep and seeks help should not be rejected. The queen and all the other ants approached the front door of the nest and opened it. The grasshopper was there lying down on the snow because he had no strength anymore. The ants immediately picked the grasshopper up and carried him into the nest. The grasshopper came to himself thanks to the warmth of their nest. They gave him water and food. Now he was feeling much better. The grasshopper thanked the queen and walked next to the little ant.
I have been very unfair to you. While you were working all summer long, I sat down and just sang. And actually you warned me, but I did not take you seriously. I regret that.
This should be a big lesson for you. We also would like to have fun all summer long, but we do have to think about the future too. If we did not get our food during summer, we might have been in the same position as you.
The grasshopper stayed in their nest for a while. He was now much better and healthier. When it was time to go, the ants gave the grasshopper some food.
Thank you for everything. You saved my life and I will never forget that. And I will never be lazy from now on.
Can I ask for a favor?
Sure, tell me. What do you like?
When it's summer, you can take music lessons, learn to play the violin, and make all the other animals happy, maybe.